let's get into one of my longer requested reviews, shall we? What's up, everyone? It's Epictastic Joshua here, giving you guys another one of my requested reviews as part of my long list of requested movie reviews. And this is going to be my thoughts for the sequel to Trancers, Trancers II, The Return of Jack Deth. This was released in 1991. This is a direct-to-DVD one. For the first time in the series, this is not a theatrical release. This stars Charles Band, written by Jackson Barr, based on characters created by Danny Bilson and Paul De Meo. It stars Thomerson, Helen Hunt, Megan Ward, Biff Monard, Martin Burswick, Alison Croft, Art LaFleur, Richard Lynch, and Jeffrey Combs. In this movie, we once again follow a future trooper named Jack Deth as he returns again to save a Los Angeles commodities broker from zombies. But if we're really breaking this down, there are some time travel things when it comes to this, and he is having to see this character of Jack Deth chronicle his courageous actions as he struggles to save the future when you see your first wife back from the future to help him out. And unfortunately for Deth, he married a 20th century girl. So yeah, that's what we're going with here. I first got a hold of this movie, I first saw it in the ending of 2021, and I ended up quite enjoying what I got out of Trancers in 2021. I thought it was actually pretty good. It was pretty competently made, and for a direct-to-video sequel, I knew this was going to be something that would be interesting. I'll admit, considering some of the mixed reactions to the Trancers sequels after the first one, I was a little nervous, but I also heard from a friend that the only Trancers movie that is worth it were the first three, because after that, 4, 5, and 6, they don't really matter. But I saw this one, and then I saw the other two, and I decided to rewatch it too, because I wanted to see how it was. And going into this, for this re-review, I was curious to see what was gonna go, but I will say overall, for a first film with Trancers, it was actually good. I saw all of them back in 2021, but this one here, Trancers 2, is actually my favorite one in the series. For one, it does have a fun sequel here. It has to take on a task. It's doing something a little different, and sometimes when you do something a little different, it's not always going to work out for the best. Here is pretty competently made, and I did enjoy what they were going here. It has a lot going for it. For one, I will say the pacing of this movie is more of there. It is long, a little bit longer than the first one, I will say. I definitely like that aspect when it comes to it. It does go a little bit longer for the first movie, and it definitely does have a strong pace going for it. Despite some of this movie being a little bit too long, which I will admit, in the middle, I feel like the middle part does drag a little bit in terms of it. But for the most part, I was overall interested in what everything was going on, what was happening, and what was pretty competently done. As far as that, and as far as competent direction by Charles Band, and you had a better villain here. I will say the villain here is way better. I will also say that the direction is way better. But what I really take away from Trancers 2 is the story that we have here. We have the main story of Deth fighting zombies in the future. So we're also dealing with the subplot of Deth having his current wife, and from his perspective, his dead wife, in together. And this could have easily caused a little bit of a riffle and a little bit of a syndrome of a certain franchise challenge itself, and it did solidify itself here. So I thought that overall was really good in the movie, and it really did help serve the movie's purpose in terms of what it was going for. Cinematography wise, for a direct-to-video movie, is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty competently done for cinematography wise. Some good editing here for the most part, and the score is pretty catchy. This is distributed by Full Moon Pictures, and I have not seen a lot of the studio stuff, but I will say overall, I definitely enjoyed the technical aspects of it. There is some bad CGI effects, and there is some iffy writing in here, but overall, I think from a cinematography standpoint and from visual effects side and from such of the entertaining moments that it has to give, there is some good effects work here for the most part, and I do like that, and I do like what the story was going for. An hour and 25 minutes, don't feel like it. Okay, the returning cast in this movie, we have Tim Thomerson as your main character, Jack Deth, and he does pretty good in his part. He's still charismatic, still a lot of fun. You have Helen Hunt in this movie as Lena Deth. I thought she's actually once again very good here. Helen Hunt is a good actress. So some supporting cast members like Biff Martinard as Hap Ashby, Martine Beswick, Nurse Trotter. You have Jeffrey Combs, who I remember first seeing in House on Haunted Hill and other things, is Dr. Pyle. Richard Lynch, of course, Allison Croft, the late Art LaFleur here. You got Thelma Hopkins, Barbara Crampton, and then just a lot of those supporting cast members, and certainly Carl Davis and Michael Sikora. All of the supporting cast members here are good here, and each of them has a lot of the moments where they get to stand out, and they do get to have a lot of moments where they just get to own it in every single part of the movie. So overall, I will say their performances were really good as well. But easily, let's talk about her. The biggest standout for me here when I watched it the first time, and when I watched this on rewatch back a few months ago, is you have the lovely actress herself, Megan Ward, as Alice Stillwell.
Well, you didn't think I forgot about you, did you?
Now, this was a character I fully expected to dislike, not only just the character, but also the performance. But first time I gave it a fair shake, and on the she was very good here. She's fun, she's a little spunky, she's pretty badass. Also, she's pretty attractive here, and also she does have some fun moments in her. So overall, I will say for the most part, they do a lot of the most fun moments here that she has, and her little rivalry and little fun conflictions with Helen Hunt is also fun, but also her chemistry with Tim Thomerson is also pretty good here. So all of that is very good here, and also she does have one of the most weirdest, also cringiest, but also badass lines here. I could kind of say it's kind of cringy, but it's also kind of weird, but also kind of interesting. So it's like a three-way tie when it comes to the line that she says here.
Jack, we scorched another one. Oh God, how I'd like to make love to you right now. Jack.
Moving on to the issues here, I will say once again, there's some moments in the middle you could slow down with for the most part, and you do kind of feel it a little bit here. And I will also say there are some shoddy effects at times, with the effects not always being the best, because this was the late 80s to early 90s, so some of the effects aren't gonna hold up as much anymore. But there are some effects that's actually really quite good and actually interesting. So for the most part, it looks like a movie, and the effects do look like they're pretty capable here. Overall, when it comes to this is a fun sequel that is the best of the series, only the 3 I've seen. And after that third movie, that's where I stopped with Trancers, because they take a massive step down in quality. But overall, it's fun. It has likable characters. There's some fun action, an entertaining new female character who's fun. Some cringy effects at times, and it does get slowed down a little bit, but overall, this is a quite enjoyable little movie that I can enjoy. If you are a fan of sci-fi movies, I would recommend this, as well as the other 2 movies, which I will get to eventually. It's a fun little sequel, and I will give this an Epictastic. And that, you guys, was my long requested review for Trancers 2, The Return of Jack Deth. It's on Blu-ray, it's on DVD, it's also on streaming services like Tubi and such. So if you can find it on a streaming service or DVD, definitely check this one out. I was genuinely surprised. Well, that's going to do it for the video that you just watched. I will have my channel here, so you would like to see anything here, click the channel icon, subscribe for more. I will also leave a video and maybe a playlist here, so in case you want to see what I'm about. As always, stay Epictasticness, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.